Hey, welcome back to another episode of Menopause Moguls, Navigating Midlife-ish with yours truly, Dr. Joyelle. I am here today with a Menopause Mogul lesson from the ER. Yeah, from the ER. Now, I'm not physically in the ER as you all who are watching on YouTube can see, but you will know what I'm talking about in a few seconds. I don't know, my light is flashing for some reason. I don't know if y'all see that, but hopefully it will keep on during this episode. And those of you who are now watching, you may also notice something new on my face. Yep. Your girl got some new glasses, a new set of eyes, a new vision. Y'all, let me tell you, if you've listened to the cholesterol entering the group chat episode, if you've not, go back and listen to that because this is the backstory of why I am on cholesterol medicine in the first place. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen the story that I posted on March 4th when I had an unexpected visit to the ER. It wasn't planned. It wasn't cute. And it definitely was not on my to-do list for New Year's Eve. But this episode, I wanted to share that story here to just dig a little deeper into unexpected health moments, as well as the need to take care of ourselves differently, as well as speak to how midlife has a way of getting our attention. I have to say, I turned 50 in July last year, and now I am, starting in January, I am now on blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medicine, and I have new glasses that I just got a couple of days ago. So here we are. We are talking about adjustments, y'all. We're talking about changes. That's what we do in midlife, right? You all know that. So yeah, I wanted to speak to all of that. So what I was before, the whole cholesterol entering the chat. Like I said, I did not expect to ring in 2026 with an IV in my arm, on the stroke protocol in the ER. So before, I got to the ER, as 2025 was winding down in December, I definitely had some plans for 2026. There's some things that I've been thinking about, things that have been on my heart, things that God has downloaded into me that I wanted to do for 2026. And I have to admit that there was times where, as I'm thinking about those things, I am feeling like I wasn't doing enough or wasn't consistent enough in habits where I could potentially execute those plans and things that I wanted to do for 2026. And also because 2024 and 2025 has been loaded with responsibilities and emotional labor, taking care of 4 parents with multiple diagnoses, raising 3 children, and, just doing all the things. So there was a lot that I was, kind of on my mind in December. But we went to Jersey to visit family for Christmas, had a great time. Towards the end of our trip, I got a phone call from one of my sisters who was saying that my mom wasn't sleeping well. My mom she was discharged from the hospital 2 weeks prior to this. So I'm talking to her, talking to my sister about my mom and, how she's not sleeping well and things like that. I'm like, all right, well, give her these tips and I'll be home in a couple days. So while I was riding in the car, because my husband was driving, coming back home on December 28th, one of my other sisters called me and was like, mommy's not feeling well. She's having chest pain and a couple of other symptoms that she was experiencing. And given the symptoms that she told me about, and like I said, given her recent hospitalization, I told my sister she needs to take her to the emergency room. And a few hours later, my mom was admitted to the ICU. And when I heard that, that really just shook me. Because I'm like, I can't do, like, this is a lot. This is a lot. Now my mom is in the ICU. Basically, she got some labs back, and one of the labs was very in a severe range that put her in danger of brain changes like a stroke and other things. And she really needed to have quick evaluation and treatment while in the ICU. So, given that news, and as well as being in the season where it's been a whirlwind of hospitalizations, multiple doctor's appointments for both parents, and me as the doctor daughter, right, trying to make all of the doctor's appointments, being present at those doctor's appointments, hospitalizations, being there to make sure that doctors are taking care of them like they're supposed to, as well as nurses. And this time, when I was told that my mom was in the ICU, I could not go to the emergency room. I mean, I could not go to the hospital. I could not go visit her. So, like I said, she was admitted on the 28th. So I did not go see her on the 28th. I did not go see her on the 29th. I did not go see her on the 30th. 3 days, y'all. Now, during these three days, I was having some pretty bad headaches. And to the point where I didn't feel like I can drive to even, go see her, right? Like, I felt like my head was hurting so bad, I just didn't want to go driving to the hospital, and the hospital where she was located, it was an hour away. So I'm like, I can't do it. But when I was completely honest with myself, I honestly did not have the capacity to go see her and then, be on top of the doctors and nurses and all the things. I just didn't have the capacity. And as I'm in my bed, sitting in my bed, popping Excedrin for these headaches, there was a point where I had just sat up in the bed, like at the side of the bed, and feeling so much guilt for not seeing my mom. Like, she's been in the hospital for 3 days and you haven't been to the hospital. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You are the doctor daughter. You are the oldest daughter. You have been at all the other hospitalizations and doctors. Why aren't you there? So that guilt, those thoughts was swirling around in my head and became so overwhelming. I sat up in the bed and felt this ball of emotion in my throat. Like, it literally felt like something was in my throat, and it was painful, and it was just almost suffocating. And it was just welling up, and I'm at the same time trying to express these feelings and thoughts to my husband, and he can just see me just getting very overwhelmed. And as I sat up, at the edge of the bed, he came and hugged me and just rubbing my back and just told me, like, you don't have to be the doctor daughter, or just be the daughter. Just be the daughter. And as he was saying that, I just felt like I had to, like, just grunt because of this painful ball in my throat that was in, I was like, ugh, like just trying to grunt it out. Y'all don't laugh at me. It was just crazy. Like, I just felt like I needed to do something to get that feeling out of my throat. So I started grunting, quietly screaming because I didn't want to scare the children. And then I just ugly cried on his chest. ugly cried on his chest, which allowed that release of that painful ball of emotions that was in my throat. And after that ugly cry, I felt better. And I just kind of chilled for the rest of the day, right? And listened to, a sermon and just really just, I felt a little better. But then I woke up at 4:55 in the morning on December 31st with severe headache, worse than what it was before. I took another Excedrin with no relief, like minimal relief. And then a few hours later, I started getting chest pains. And then after that, I started to feel numb in my right arm and tingly in my right arm. My legs started to feel just like pins and needles in both of my legs. And I was like, damn it. I should have started by saying, y'all, as a doctor, I am the worst patient. Okay? I do not like going to the doctor. I do not like taking medicine. I just diagnose myself and just go on my merry way and figure it out, right? Like, but this time I'm like, dang, I need to be evaluated. You 50, girl. You need to go get get an evaluation, okay? And y'all probably know my husband's also, I've shared this before, my husband's also a physician. So he's like, we need to take you to the ER. You may be having a stroke. Like, what the hell? And I'm like, damn it. So he takes me to the ER and I have severely, extremely high blood pressures. 180s, 190s, over 100, 150. I tell the, triage nurses about what's going on. They put me on the immediate stroke protocol in the ER where they rush me back to get a CAT scan of my head, MRI, an EKG for my heart, like basically undergoing this full stroke workup. And I actually went to the ER where my mom was in the ICU. So at that same hospital. So I underwent this very extravagant stroke workup. And thankfully, I did not have a stroke. But I did obviously continue to have some very, significant high blood pressures. But the blood pressures did lower, a little bit, enough there, I didn't need to need any IV blood pressure medicine. But they still were, pretty high. I didn't have a stroke, thank God. And they gave me something for my headache and they gave me some IV fluids and I was eventually discharged from the ER. And then I actually went upstairs to see my mom in the ICU and gave her a big hug. And I was happy to do that. So I finally saw my mother in the ICU after she had been there for 3 days, which is definitely out of character for me as how I'd been showing up with my parents having all the things that's been going on with them given their health issues. So luckily I was able to get back home by 11 p.m. to see the ball drop with my babies and drink apple cider. I was barely awake actually because they gave me this cocktail for my headache which made me very drowsy. But I was happy because I was also worried about missing, Ring in 2026 with my children. But I was able to do that and was definitely grateful for that. But after all of that, I went into stillness mode. And when I gave myself the space to be still, it revealed to me that the capacity to carry what I was carrying in 2024 and 2025 needed to end. In order for me to make space to execute the vision that God showed me for 2026. So what I was doing in 2024 and 2025 would not be able to carry me through to 2026. That's what was revealed to me. And this was going to require me to let go. And know that I was not supposed to carry it all. I'm not supposed to carry it all, even though that's what I'd been doing. Right? So to let go, it required me to ask for even more help. And not to say, I'm not saying, I told you I grew up as the oldest of 8, right? So I have a bunch of siblings, okay? So I'm not saying that they were not helping, right? They were definitely helping. But I was carrying a lot still because of, like I said, I'm the doctor, I'm the oldest, so I was still making a lot of the appointments, being present at a lot of the appointments, having, conversations with all the doctors and this, all the things. So I had to ask for more help from my siblings so that I wouldn't have to do all of those things. So it required me of that. It required to do less things. So less doing and more of just being. It required me to be open to redefining my identity in this season of my life, right? I have been the strong one, the fixer, the go-to. And this gave me a wake-up call that I can't be that anymore. Like, it has to look different. It also required me to look at how I was taking care of myself and now needing to do that in a different way. So leading up to this, in this caregiving season and, all the things that I've been doing, I was intentional about taking care of myself because I know how in the beginning of the caregiving journey, I could see it coming where I was going to lose myself in the midst of all the things that I was doing in between my parents, my in-laws that were also sick at the time. So I can see that coming. So I was intentional about really taking care of myself, right? So I was exercising, I was meditating, I was going to therapy. I was doing the work, right? But I realized that even though I was still doing the work, my mom being in the ICU took me over a different edge where what I was doing wasn't going to be able to sustain me in going into this next season, going into 2026. So I had to be open to doing it differently. Going through all of that, that whole ER visit, it was also reminders of your body tells you the truth, right? Like I said, I was doing the things, taking care of myself, being intentional about pouring into myself, but my body was like, yeah, I know you've been doing that, but there's still a lot of stress that you have not addressed and you need to do things differently. Like I said, ask for more help, take a step back, not do all the things and just be more. So my body was giving me signs, right? And I was kind of listening and not listening enough, right? So my body was telling me the truth. It just took me a minute. It just took me a minute, right? To pay attention, right? So that was one reminder. Another reminder was midlife is not only layered changes and constant adaptations, but it really is an invitation to do things that align with what you really want, what to do things that align with your true purpose, right? And also an invitation to be more of who you are supposed to be becoming in this season. So those were some big reminders, right? Like it's a lot, right? It's a lot. And I think, being a high achiever, you're just it's ingrained in me to just continue to take care of everybody else, right? And there's signs that your body is trying to tell you, and it's like, okay, I see you, but I'm gonna do this over here real quick, and then I'll get to that. But we can't do that. We gotta stop doing that. And like I said, being open to caring for ourselves in a different way and listening to our bodies with more curiosity, right? And also incorporating rest as a strategy as opposed to, get to do or whatever. Rest is a strategy for our wellness, for our purpose, and being open to just adjusting, just constantly adjusting, right? And we're a constant just adapting, constantly adapting to our bodies as our bodies are speaking to us and trying to tell us what truly is going on. We really have to adapt to those signals, those whispers that our body is trying to tell us. And I've learned that, being open to constantly adjusting really just increases my awareness and provides more clarity on, who I am becoming and what I am now purposed to do going into 2026. So, I know a lot of us are met with some unexpected health challenges or moments, right? With me now on blood pressure medicine, on cholesterol medicine, I've learned to embrace this stage, this season, right? And not fight it with frustration and anger. And I'm not saying that those emotions did not come up, because they did. I do not want to minimize the emotions of, like I said, frustration and anger and the feeling of I failed myself, because, and now I have to be on this medicine. Like, no, we cannot do that. We cannot do that to ourselves. We cannot be so hard on ourselves. And I think the biggest lesson for me in midlife has been I am human. I have to constantly remind myself of that. Because a lot of times we treat our bodies like they're machines. So I have to be constantly reminded that I am human. And I cannot operate on this constant grind, hustle, doing all the things. So I have to give myself permission to just stop and just be. Right? So Midlife is not the season to fight your body. It is not the season to fight your body. It's the season to partner with it, right? Like we got to be partners. I got to work with her. Now she on blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medicine. I got to work with this girl. I'm like, okay, girl, then you're going to take this medicine. This is what I'm going to do differently. I'm going to, you know, step away from making all the doctor's appointments. I'm going to give a list of all my parents' doctors and the numbers, and so I won't be the only one who has it. I am going to now do more of being still and just sit and do nothing, as opposed to run and do all the things. I'm going to do more of those things. I'm going to work with you. Okay. Because I told y'all in the last episode on the cholesterol medicine, the episode where I talked about cholesterol, I don't want to be on this medicine forever. So I still have, a goal of getting off of it eventually. But in the meantime, I'm going to work with her. And we're going to figure this thing out. We're going to figure this thing out. Okay. I'm going to give her grace. I'm going to love on her and go with it, right? Adjust, rest, adjust, right? So when your body whispers, you have to listen. Okay. When it nudges, pay attention. If you just haven't, after I share my story, I don't want you to end up in the ER, y'all. Don't go to the ER. Don't end up in the ER like I did, right? So when your body whispers, listen. When it nudges you, pay attention. Okay? But if it does sit you down in the ER, receive the lessons and reevaluate, adjust, and do what needs to be done so that you are well. Okay? I hope that helps you, those of you who are constantly grinding, constantly going, feeling signs in your body that you're kind of ignoring. I hope this story helps you to realize that it's okay to step away from whatever that thing is, or just sit down and just be with yourself. And it's definitely necessary for you to pay attention to what your body is telling you. Okay? So before I end this episode, I wanted to share, because of not only this experience, but other things that has been happening in my midlife journey. I know there's a lot of us who are quietly carrying a lot. And I want to create a space for us Black women to just be. And really get in tune with our bodies and feel empowered to pivot into the things that you actually want to do, and pivot to the woman who you are supposed to become in this season of your life. So I am creating something very special, an event coming early summer. This is just a teaser, y'all, but just to get your mind, just get y'all just kind of thinking about something that I'm planning for y'all. I'm so excited about it, but I'm gonna tell y'all more in future episodes, but I just want to kind of put that out there. Early June, I'm planning an event for Midlife Black women, a safe space for us to just be with ourselves and be in community with ourselves, so that we can be able to give ourselves permission to take the superwoman cape off and rest and lean into the power that actually comes with these midlife changes and adaptations. So stay tuned for that. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. As always, love and light to you all, and I'll talk to y'all next time. All right, bye.